ladies and gentlemen. How goes it? It's been a hot minute. I apologize. I really do. However, had some life stuff go on. Believe last weekend I went to Talladega to camp in the infield for my boy Blake's bachelor's party, which was extremely fun. Had a great time. We all made it back safely and got to see some incredible racing. I'm a big NASCAR fan, so going to any race is usually fun, but something about just going to Talladega was just a big trip for everybody, and we got to go, and for a good reason, and got to enjoy a great time of just watching three wide racing for 50 laps to start out the race, and just watching to see everybody's face of how shocked they were. How good the racing was. And this ain't a racing podcast. I could probably do a racing podcast, but probably for the best that I don't, because then I'd be yammering on for about an hour and a half. So anyways, there's been a lot of stuff that's going on, but I would go ahead and start with Talladega because there was actually an instance of country music. I believe Hardy was there, and Hardy is essentially one of the big songwriters of country music, I believe, today, especially like the modern age of country music. And I'm talking more or less about what's on the country radio. Like, he helps write for Morgan Wallen a lot. And he was there, and he was singing a couple of his songs, but me and my pals chose to go to the dirt track across the road instead of going to the concert, which honestly don't even feel bad about. I feel bad about not being able to get a report of how Hardy truly is. However, I will say that the people beside of us, which, I mean, relatively speaking, you have to understand that these people may or may not have been 15, 17, 20, 25, I lost how many count of beers in. They told us Hardy didn't show up for like the first 2 hours. He was 2 hours late. He pulled a George Jones, except he actually showed up at the end and didn't just completely not show up. But that was kind of crazy to hear. So if you're going to a Hardy concert, just be kind of aware of something like that happening. Of course, it could have been just Talladega traffic, because the traffic out there, it was absolutely phenomenally bad. Especially leaving. We camped in the infield and we're like, we're going to miss all the traffic. And then we wake up, I believe it was Monday morning, ready to go, and we were still in traffic for a good 15 minutes. So it was, Talladega traffic is real, especially during race week. However, it was a great trip. And by all reports, Hardy did a pretty good job with the concert, according to the people that actually stayed and listened to it. However, again, anything sounds a lot better when you're 25 beers in. So, anyways, and then this week I actually went to a concert with my mom, which I believe I've talked about on the podcast before. And it was a great time with her and my dad at the beach. The concert itself was not necessarily my speed. However, I will give a general review of everything. So, we're definitely going to talk about it. And, of course, we can use this as just kind of like an introduction to the topic. So the venue was absolutely beautiful. It was in Wilmington, North Carolina. And the name of the pavilion was Live Oak Bank Pavilion at Riverfront Park. This kind of reminded me of the venue that I was in Charlotte, which is just a live music venue. They specifically build this venue just for that. And you can tell, because it's really well done. The audio was very, very potent. I would say even to the point of being overly potent, especially with the openers when they came out. The audio drowned out a lot of the vocals, which was good for most of the openers. Which I will talk about here in a second, which I'm not discrediting them. They did a great job. They opened the act. But there was definitely a artist that stood out to me among all of them. And here we go. So The venue was amazing. I didn't get any food or anything. There was food trucks set outside of the venue, though. Couldn't bring anything in. Obviously, once you enter the venue, it's just, you're going to be buying your drinks. You're going to be eating there. And, of course, the prices are going to vary, mainly because you're inside the venue. However, it seemed like everybody was having a good time. The seats were amazing. Very, very nice padding, which I usually don't sit in my seat that much at concerts. I'm usually a stander, but when it came to most of the concert, I was sitting down, so that kind of tells you how I enjoyed the concert. When the opener stopped coming out and the main act, I stood for most of the concert, but that was more or less just to help my mom get good video footage for her because she is fairly short, so she can't, hold the phone up and record quite well. So that was my designated duty as the enjoyer of the concert, which I didn't mind at all. It gave me a little bit of more time to focus on everything. So, anyways, we went into the venue. We had middle of the row seats. I think it was section 120, 22, 15, 16, and 17, which is just slam jam in the middle of that section and the middle of the whole venue. And then we were just kind of relaxing. It felt really nice. It was very open air. You didn't feel really super tight and condensed, in my opinion. It's definitely a very relaxed venue. Then the first opener comes out. And I don't discredit him because he did his job and what JellyRoll wanted him to do after he came out and explained everything that this man did. And this guy is actually on Comedy Central. He's a comedian, so he's not an actual musician. Josh Adam Myers is the name. And I'm not really... He sang 3 songs every time he came out because he would essentially, whenever one opener would stop, he would come out and just fill that void till the next person comes out, which is a really smart idea. I applaud the effort. I think that time in between the people that are swapping off, so your different openers, that little middle time, it can be used for something. And JellyRoll tried his best, and I applaud him for doing it. However, I just did not vibe well with this guy, especially for someone that I'm not... Listen, guys, I'm not like family friendly only, but when this concert was supposed to be quote unquote family friendly, according to JellyRoll, when he came out, this man was dropping the F-bomb a lot. And I mean a lot. And I understand he was on before the actual show and everything, but holy crap. Every single word. I would say there's a good 5 words in between an F-bomb. And if you talk like that, that's cool. I don't care. That's all good. But just to be up there and doing that, I couldn't vibe with it. And he would just tell people to chug the beer. He'd look at me like, you, take your shirt off and chug that beer. And he'd go, chug, chug, chug. And the only thing that I really enjoyed was him essentially making a persona up of this guy upstage. And this guy was wearing a flannel shirt. He said that he's the most handsome redneck he's ever seen. He's going to call him Skeeter. And he said his goal by the end of the concert is to have everybody taking pictures with Skeeter like he's a celebrity. And then he would just, go about his thing. And then he would be just talking. And then he would start singing. Just improv. I believe the first song was Zombie. Everybody was into it. They were singing along because it's very famous songs. Even one guy up front, he was singing it wrong when he gave him the microphone. So he called him Skids instead of Skeeters. And he made fun of him the entire... So it was just a whole bunch of singing big songs, making fun of Skids while praising Skeeter and trying to get people to cheer Skeeter, Skeeter. It was definitely an interesting concert. And whoever Skeeter out there, what a sport. What a G. I appreciate you. Because you actually made that actually enjoyable for my mom and dad and me. Because we were just like looking at each other. And we're just like, man, I'm just not vibing. And then the first opener comes out, the true first opener, and let me tell you, she is the highlight of the concert for me. Caitlin Curtis. Talk about a amazing voice. So amazing. So deep in depth of tone and being able to reach them high notes, she did such an amazing job. I've not necessarily listened to any of her music specifically, so I can't sit here and be like, I endorse her music. I've listened to all of her music. However, everything that she sung at that venue sounded legit, genuine, and very much country roots. More kind of like a Adele almost type voice. Like, it can reach those notes. And I think that the venue or whoever is doing the sound did the disservice of her putting the audio way too loud, where you could not hear her actually sing, because she was absolutely phenomenal. Amazing voice. And I would recommend going out there and just listen to like one or two songs by her, and you will understand what I'm talking about. This amazing vocalist. Along with, if she's writing these songs, she had some pretty nice songs that she has written. So I really enjoyed her set, and she was the highlight, 100%. She did a great job. She came out there. She didn't have a big band, but you could tell that she was absolutely just floored, because this is something that she's not used to. This isn't necessarily the crowd size that she's used to, because I kid you not, this place was sold out. There was people on the hotel behind, on the apartments, hanging off the balcony watching it. There's people on the street watching it. There was people, the lawn was full. You turned around, there was people everywhere. This place was absolutely slammer jammer, completely full. And you would think that with so many people, it would feel like you couldn't breathe. It's an awful atmosphere. And I'm here to tell you, it's completely the opposite. I never felt more in unison with a crowd that big ever. I think the most unison concert I've ever been to is the Cody Jinks concert. However, just with the sheer amount of people, it was great. And I cannot tell you how much I like Caitlin Curtis. And I will be listening to her music, and I will be evaluating it in regards to how I feel about country music in general. But I gotta say, for the little sip of the red Solo cup I got of her, amazing job. Highlight 100%. Then we go to Struggle Jennings. I'm not a country rap guy. Colt 45, people love that. It's not my partake, but if you do like that kind of stuff, Struggle Jennings has an amazing story about how he came out of nothing. And him and JellyRoll kind of meshed together real well with that, because both of them have not had the easiest road when it comes to not just country music, but music in general. They've been down some rough patches in their life. So it was really cool to hear his story as he explained them between the songs. But then when you got to the songs, mumble rapping, essentially. That's how I view it, and it may have just been the audio there. I don't know. However, I didn't really mesh well with Struggle. I did not enjoy his performance personally, but that's not saying that you guys may not listen to him. I think there's one song on my playlist. It's called Hard to Handle, that has Struggle and JellyRoll that I really like. But Struggle, I sat down through his whole set, and I forgot to mention one thing about Caitlin Curtis, which was amazing to me. She had a boy at home, and she FaceTimed her boy in front of everybody, and we all waved at, and that was just an amazing moment. She just looked absolutely thrilled to death. And that's when you can tell the difference between a genuine person and someone that's faking it. And that is a natural, great transition into the man himself. As the guy in the opener went, JellyRoll! That's how, well, not with the, but anyways. Before I say anything, again, this is my opinion, 100%. And that's basically what it is. It's my opinion, and I don't intend to offend. So, this is what I gotta say. I honestly believe that JellyRoll is a very genuine person, especially by his reactions to the crowd. You could tell that he was really extremely emotional, like very much so. It's not something that a lot of people can say. Like a lot of people say you can fake emotion and everything, which is true. I'm sure you can, but this has that genuine feel to it, and I think that's why people are so pulled to his music, is because, in the words of my dad, he's putting out music that people need to hear, and that really helps him. Um, Now, there's songs that I don't necessarily agree with. That's country music, and I don't necessarily agree that it belongs in the genre. However, it has a lot of extremely good country music elements in it. He has a steel guitar up on stage. Well, then you could make the assumption that he's country music. However, you really didn't hear the steel guitar that much, in my opinion, especially with everything else going on, the beating and banging and everything. However, one thing that I will say is I heard a lot, and I mean a lot, of people singing his music back to him, and that just floored him. And I can't even speak to the emotion on his face. JellyRoll, when it comes to is he country music or not, I struggle with it myself because I feel like he has a lot of the roots of loving country music, especially him talking about how he grew up with country music, but he also grew up with rap music and rock music and everything going on at the same time in the house. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I like people being influenced by different types of music, 100%. I actually tell people to make sure that they just don't listen to one genre. Because if you listen to just one genre and then you get stuck on that genre, it eventually will get old real quick. It's like playing the same sport. That's why they always talk about playing multiple sports is a good idea so you don't get bored. If you just play basketball 20 years of your life, you're eventually going to be like, you know what, I really hate basketball because I've been playing it for so long. Add a little variety in your life. And I will say that JellyRoll is definitely one artist where I could see listening to a couple of his songs and be like, yeah, that's country music, absolutely. But then when you compare it to people like from the Red Dirt movement, it's really tough for me to sit down and be like, yeah, he's country music when you got people producing other stuff. So I don't want to make that assumption or that decision for you. You make whatever decision you want to make. And if you believe he is, or if you believe he isn't, send me a message on the old email and let me know how you feel about old JellyRoll. But I'll tell you, if you go to see him, well worth the money, great performance. And if you can see Caitlin Curtis, go see her, 100%. Alright, I'm going to probably try to run this down pretty quick, but I do also have to mention that I went to another concert. I actually did a mini episode about this concert. However, I wasn't able to get it edited and everything in time for I went to Dega. So, I'm just going to go ahead and throw it in this episode real quick. I went to go see Charles Wesley Godwin. My gosh, man, what a phenomenal man. The man is high energy. You got to go to a concert by him. If you've never seen him before, please do you the service of going and listen to him. He goes around and he rocks and rolls playing country music. He just recently put his Family Ties album out, and I believe this was like the second show after Family Ties came out. And everybody there was knowing the song. Like 100%. Like, it was amazing. Everybody was having such a great time, especially in the song Family Ties when he says "Strike Me Down." Everybody, the first time that song was being run through and got to that chorus and he started the "Strike Me Down" part, everybody screamed it. And you could just see the genuine happiness on his face that people already knew the song so freaking well that, you know, they were singing on the first chorus. People could sing it on the second chorus if they follow the people that sung it on the first chorus or him. That means the crowd knew him. His opening was, I believe his name is Nolan Taylor. Amazing guy. I would highly recommend him too. I haven't really sat down and listened to a lot of his music here lately because I've been working on a deep dive discography, which should be going up Thursday. I've been trying to iron out everything, get everything ready to be recorded for that. Probably record that today or tomorrow, just depending on how everything goes. Everybody talks about Country Roads Take Me Home by him because it just has such a nice persona flow because he is from West Virginia, so you really feel that song. And one instance, his guitarist actually went up to the upper level of the Ramcat in Winston-Salem. Amazing venue. Very tight. Get there early. Parking can be a pain in the butt. But he went to the top floor, which is essentially like a bar overhang, and was rocking out above us on the ground floor, which was really cool to see. So, anyways, that performance was absolutely phenomenal. And for $25 compared to what I paid for per JellyRoll ticket, concert was amazing, great value. Had some people, or had a singular person cancel. Didn't tell me that they were going to show up. Had an extra ticket. It's all good. I didn't miss the performance, so that's the main thing. So, a lot of good albums come out this weekend. The Stillwoods, If Not for the Rain, out. I believe that's the album that came out. I can't remember if that's the actual name of the album or not, but that's the single that I remember it coming out. I've seen a lot of Highway by Billy Don Burns came out. Has some features with Wes Snip and Cody Jinks. Check it out. Go support Billy Don Burns. Definitely one of the true outlaws out there in America, especially when it comes to country music. A Ward Davis song came out. It's a solo single. Ain't No Mary Jane. Pretty good song. Enjoyed that coming out. Had a lot of music to go through. And then, of course, me going through the discography deep dive on top of it. Whoo-wee. And, of course, the Family Ties album. Don't forget that. Great album. Highly recommend that. That's been one that I've listened to a couple times already. And definitely foresee listening to more of it. So, anyways, going to digress here. Going to go ahead and shut it down. Go charge the phone. Hopefully figure out what's going on with this freaking microphone. Maybe throw it against the wall. And call it good, right? Thank you guys so much for sitting down, listening to your boy Cole. I appreciate you listening to the podcast, even if the audio is scuffed as crap. Like, I don't know what's going on, but we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it. Trust me. Anyways, make sure, if you haven't, look me up on the old Spotify, the Apple Tunes, guys. Y'all know the Apple Tunes? I was mixing iTunes and the podcast. Apple Podcast. Leave me a review. Also, send me a email. And I want you to send me a specific email this time. I am going to start working on an episode called you know how I made the playlist of the country music? I want to narrow down the top 12 best road trip country music songs of all time. And we're going to narrow it down and we're going to figure it out. Even if you're my friend, you know me RL, send me an email. The email's always in the description of the podcast. Look it up. Send me an email of songs that you would recommend, and I'm going to make this a community interactive playlist of the road trip, along with my own opinion. If we can't get the total of 12 songs, make sure you do that. Of course, everything else is in the description. I believe the playlist that I built for if you want to give up, very good playlist. Go check it out. Also, if you are new to the podcast, make sure you go back and listen to some of the older episodes. One that I would recommend early on would be the Casper McWade episode. Also, any ones that's with me and Blake is a really good episode. Really enjoy doing those with him. And hopefully going to have a few more guests here on the podcast pretty soon. Working on getting some stuff going on. I'm trying, guys. I'm not out here sitting around being like, I'm going to get an artist on and then never, or never try. I'm sitting here trying. I'm reaching out to people. I've gotten some responses back about people interested to be on the podcast, but just due to either conflicts IRL or just not ghosting, because I don't want to seem like a jerk, but they're busy out there. They may forget, that they were going to do an episode or whatever, but they said they want to, and then I reached back out and I hadn't heard anything back. I continue to reach out there and see if I can hear anything. So I'm doing everything I can for you guys. I'm trying to make this podcast not only an enjoyable experience for you guys to listen to, but also for me, because I go back and like to not necessarily listen to the podcast, but like to when I'm editing, I have to listen back to it, but I like to go back and just think about what I've done. I have over 1,000 listens, which I never expected to have that many listens right off the rip. The last 3 months have been amazing. I've really enjoyed them, and maybe 4 months now. It's kind of a blur. Country music podcast has been going crazy. Really enjoy all the listeners I have. Make sure, if you've not sent an email before, even when you send this road trip playlist, just tell me who you are, how you found me, why you like the podcast, and we'll definitely read your email out up on the podcast, just like we did with Sean. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you guys have an amazing day, amazing work week, and let's get this bread together, and let's keep country music alive, yeah? All right. Peace, love, and chicken grease.